Deep down, you want to be successful. You want to change the way your life is. You want to be able to support your family more, make your parents proud. You don't want to be seen as the bum because you know that deep within, that isn't really you. But for some reason, something just isn't clicking. You feel hopelessly lost. Anything new that you start, you can't stick to for more than a few weeks. So you end up going back into the same rut and retreat to the same comforts that you have used for years. If this sounds like you, then you're not alone, because this was also me. For years, I could not figure out why I just couldn't stick to anything meaningful. I would always end up going back to weed, back to porn, or social media. I remember taking this photo in late summer of 2020, thinking I'd be doing something revolutionary. You know those random moments at 3 AM where you decide to change your life and sort your shit out? Full discipline mode, but the next morning you wake up and you don't have motivation. So you leave it for tomorrow. Tomorrow comes and nothing changes. I continued this cycle for years and saw no progress in my life or changes. All of this, however, can be fixed. It's just by understanding one critical yet overlooked thing: dopamine. You may have heard of dopamine, but you don't really care about it. But by the end of this video, you will care about it, and you'll understand that it's the thing that will either make or break your life. Dopamine effectively makes you feel good for repeating an action. It's responsible for rewarding behaviour. For example, when you have a wank, it feels good. And when you ejaculate, you release dopamine. That's a signal to your brain to repeat the behaviour. By design, dopamine is intended biologically to reward sex and when you eat. This is because our brain isn't evolved for our modern day conveniences. You still get dopamine from sex and eating food, but now there are easier ways to get dopamine. Let's take a look at your most common habits. Watching porn, eating junk food, consuming drugs and alcohol, scrolling social media and playing video games. All of these activities release dopamine, and a lot of it. Like we learned before, dopamine's role is to reinforce behaviours. That's why doing all of these things is so easy. It's because there is a neurological link between them and your brain. This is why it's so hard to turn your life around. You know that you're capable of far more than you're doing right now. However, it's these habits that are causing you to stagnate and to stay the same each year. Because these habits are so easily accessible and reward you for putting in very little effort, your brain is automatically going to go towards them instead of fixing your life. This is because your brain has been wired to want the dopamine right now and cannot fathom having to wait for it. I was in this exact position. I wanted to sort my life out, but I felt myself just getting dragged back into these old habits over and over again. But how did I break free from this? By doing exactly what I'm going to tell you. Firstly, I set out a very clear pain point. This was, I'm going to stay the same forever unless I change the way I am. Meaning, I would never progress in my life. This was something for me to run from. The thought of never changing and not constantly improving scares the crap out of me. Secondly, I set out something to run towards. This was to be successful enough to financially provide for my mum. This is something to run to. And the reason why this motivation is so powerful is because it's a purpose that is something outside of myself. I didn't like myself enough to change my life for me, but I cared enough about my mum to do it for her. The point of changing your life is attaching a lot of emotional weight to either outcome. If you don't do the work, there is misery waiting for you. And if you do the work, you get this awesome, beautiful feeling. Without emotional pain, you're not going to change. You're going to stay the same. So I want you to think for yourself, what scares you? What type of people that do you see in the world that you look at that cringe you out, that slightly haunt you, that when you look at them, you say, I really don't want to be like that when I'm older. Thirdly, list out all the possible things that may stop you from achieving your goal. We can list your habits. You like watching porn, you play video games, you smoke weed, and you scroll on social media. Our aim now is to remove them one at a time. The reason we can't go on this crazy killing spree of all of our old habits is because our brain is still wired for them and you will end up relapsing. For each one, what you need to do is spend an allotted amount of time intentionally not doing them. By doing this, you allow your brain to slowly restore normal dopamine levels. When this happens, it means you can start to enjoy healthier things. So basically how this looks like is, let's say if you're addicted to porn, you take porn away, right? And now that you've taken porn away, you now have left a gap. And with this gap, you can start to add healthy habits. So things that I would suggest would be go for more walks, get consistent at the gym, Learn a new skill, start a new hobby, get into reading books. Over time, with all of this in mind, you will be able to replace your bad habits with good habits and get closer to achieving your goal. Remember that we need the goal in order to quit the habits, because quitting for quitting's sake just isn't enough.